there are 4 myths about emotional intelligence that I want to go into, and let me start with the first one. The first one, which says that there is no place for emotions at work. Like there could be no bigger myth, and and I'm saying this because I still hear it from some of my clients how they are perhaps bullied or ragged in the workplace for showing emotion at work. I have got this in a lot of my workshops where even like men have come forward and said that they find it very difficult to express their vulnerability at work, and that's why they actually shut off and they don't emotionally engage in the workplace with other people because show of emotions is frowned upon. Now, the thing is that if you go into the biology of the body and brain, the emotions are there all the time in the room, in the situation. And if my brain perceives a particular person or a situation as a threat, the energy of my body will immediately turn inward. All right. And that will actually change the dynamics in the workplace. So we cannot say that there's no place for emotions at work. If there is even one person in a team who has a sense of distress, the leader cannot afford to not address that problem, because there will be an undercurrent of emotional distress, which emotions are contagious, and that will impact a lot of other people in the team. And therefore, we cannot say that there's no place for emotions. Later, I will just classify what are some of the basic emotions at play at the workplace. Yeah. Okay, this particular slide I really want you to look at. I have put two numbers there, 12 to 19 and 300 plus. And there's a reason why I have put those numbers there. So emotions is not equal to feelings. Okay, and this is again a technical definition and a distinction between emotions and feelings. Emotions are triggered by the limbic system, and they create a reaction in our body in 12 to 19 seconds of a stressor coming into our perception. That is emotion. Feelings are when our prefrontal cortex, which is where supposedly all the logic resides, that takes data from all other parts of our brain, including our memory, including our past experiences, and comes to a more considered response about a particular situation. And therefore, feelings, they they form after 300 milliseconds, but they linger for a long time. So you can feel a certain way about a person or a situation for a long period of time, but the emotional reaction will be immediate. So, for example, someone said that they had a confrontation as a solution. That was perhaps the right thing for them, because emotionally at that point their brain told them that this confrontation is necessary to resolve a particular problem. The issue is that what were the feelings that came out of that confrontation, and what did we do to resolve those feelings? And I'll come to that later on also, that there are strategies to resolve feelings after difficult situations. There are very, very concrete steps that you can take to dissipate or harmonize. The word is harmonize the feelings, because again, if our body and brain is continuously predicting a stressor, it leads us into a state of anxiety. And that anxiety is not good for performance, neither for us nor for anybody else in the team. The second very important thing is nobody except you can resolve the situation. So other people can show you kindness, they can show you compassion, they can hold energy for you, they can keep space for you, but you alone can change the situation or take interest and resolve the situation and harmonize the feelings. And harmonizing the feelings is very, very important. um, I cannot stress on this enough, because later on it leads to things like dysfunction, detachment, and those kind of things. Yeah. Again, any of these slides, I cannot go into very deep detail, but if you want to have a conversation, please just write to me, and I'm available and I'm very happy to go deeper and resolve some of the issues. I wanted to show this, which is probably looking very confusing to you, but it is a proprietal schematic of emotions that Ion Consulting, stands for. It is very beautiful work done by, again, Dr. Paul Brown, who basically wanted to showcase in one visual how emotions trigger neurotransmitters and what kind of response they have in the body. Now, this will take me a whole day to explain, so I don't have the time to do that. But what I just want to focus you on is look at the emotions on the left of the screen: fear, anger, disgust, shame, and sadness. These are escape, avoidance, or survival emotions. And remember the number 12 to 19 seconds. Those emotions get triggered in a nanosecond. In the blink of an eyelid, those emotions get triggered. And guess what? Those emotions are signals and they are our friends. A lot of the times we are actually taught that, oh, we must not feel anxiety, we must not feel fear, anger. It's natural. First of all, it comes from our unconscious brain, so we have no we don't have control on whether we feel fear, anger, anxiety. They will happen to us irrespective. Okay. But the only thing that we can do is have awareness as to where is it coming from, why is it happening to us. And I can tell you this from a practitioner's point of view, that over a period of time, just focused attention on emotions and where they are coming in from helps us to control and regulate them. That's it. So, this whole practice of mindfulness and meditation is all about awareness. And this just simple awareness helps us to control these emotions. And this is probably called emotional mastery. Again, this schematic very beautifully explains the range of emotions that we feel. And I would really request you to look at this and see which are the emotions that you are not feeling enough. You know, you have to feel all emotions, because this is created in nature as friends. They are our friends and they are telling us something. So if you are feeling sad, then there is something that has to be addressed. The sadness has to be resolved. That is the way to interpret the emotion, but not let the emotion overpower you. So feeling sad is not a bad thing at all, as long as there is some action, self action, that follows it. On the right hand side, you can see attachment or thrive emotions. And when we say words like trust or love or excitement or joy, I know that all of you would be feeling the sensation in a very, very different way than when we say shame or disgust or sadness, right? And then you have the surprise or the startled emotion, which is a bridging emotion, and I will come to that later. But I want to move on from this slide. The other concept that I want to bring out is that no brain is the same. Just like the fingerprint of each individual is different. Each of our brains is wired in a very unique way. And neurodiversity, the word is not, it is something that is very real. And we are moving towards a world where neurodiversity is going to become a bigger and bigger and bigger issue. So it will be worth your while to invest some time in understanding what neurodiversity means. In this context, neurodiversity means that so many million people interpret emotions differently. That's what it means. That's all. So everybody's emotional circuit works differently. Okay. So one of the things that comes out from emotional intelligence is that we cannot really afford to judge anybody on why they are feeling the way they are feeling. If they are feeling a certain way, then it is reality for them. Yeah. And I know it's very hard. I know because in the world that we are brought up in, we are continuously judging, and we are like, how can this person feel like this? How can this person show this emotion? How can this person lose his cool or shout at me or whatever? But there's another helpful slide for that, which I'm going to come to. Okay, so that was the first one. The second one is that people are born with fixed emotional intelligence and it cannot be learned. You are learning right now. Just awareness is learning. Just awareness, and I can tell you that the levels of you can go into amazing levels of awareness about emotional intelligence if that is something that interests you, if you're a seeker, if that is your path. But people are born with fixed emotional intelligence. Wrong. Do we need to teach emotional intelligence in the workplace? Yes, we need to, because we need workplaces which are creative, where people collaborate, where people don't hide their work because they want all the credit. Those kind of behaviors are so toxic, and they make the whole team underperform. Yeah. Where you don't go the extra mile for your colleague because you have some kind of a like a balance sheet in your head that I did three things for her and she's doing one thing for me, and therefore this relationship is one sided. All those things are narratives that we have just inherited. There are other ways to solve the problem, and emotional intelligence is actually being curious about one's own emotions and the emotions of one's colleagues. Curiosity, yeah. And have you ever tried to have a conversation like this where you ask a colleague that I am really curious about this? How are you feeling in the moment? What is happening to you? How are you interpreting the situation? This kind of a conversation opens up a very different path versus you making assumptions about a colleague and his or her behavior. So again, reiterating the fact that it's all about awareness creation. Okay, this is a quite a complex schematic, but here I want to just point out at one thing, which is this line called perception. Okay, everything that goes through your senses, sight, speech, touch, smell, taste, first, that's how we interact with the world, right? From the time we get up in the morning till the end of the day, we are constantly engaging with the world in all of these different domains, and they go and straight away hit our limbic system, the emotional center of the brain, and they get meaning from perception. And that perception is created by stored meaning in the memory. And this stored meaning in the memory comes from many factors, from your genes, from your personality. Yes, there is something called personality. It comes from your upbringing and culture, from any adverse experiences in childhood. Yeah. And I am surprised constantly at the number of people I meet who have adverse experiences from childhood, which means all of us are dealing with those internally. Values, belief systems, culture, all of these, they give us the interpretation of an external stimulus. Now the issue is that this happens in a nanosecond. So it is a part of our unconscious brain. There's very little you can do to control it. And so what should be a strategy for better emotional intelligence? And I'll come to that. The third myth is that emotional intelligence is always about having positive emotions. It is not possible. It is impossible. If you want to be authentic, it is impossible to have constant positivity flowing out from you, that would be inauthentic, and it will create a double stressor in your body. So emotions have to be dealt with, but not suppressed. You have to figure out, because there is enough research to say that if emotions are stored in the body and the brain, they actually change the structure of our brain. And that would be a completely different webinar and a class where we can come up and show you like evidence from neuroscience research, where people have found that adverse situations or suppression of emotions has actually changed the structure of the brain. You can even go to chat gpt and just type this prompt, and you will get a very, very detailed output on this. And the last myth that I want to talk about is that emotional intelligence is solo pursuit. There is no solo brain. We don't have anything called solo brains. All of us have mirror neurons. Mirror neurons enable us to mentalize what the other person is feeling. So you will, if I can just make you think about the last conversation you had with a friend with whom you enjoyed perhaps a very deep connection, you would have felt the emotions that they were going through. You would have felt perhaps deep distress inside of you for that person. That is called mirror neuron effect. And mirror neurons, guess what? They are found in every mammal. So it's not just human beings. Mirror neurons are found in birds, they are found in rodents, they are found in monkeys. And it is a pro-social phenomena, which means that if we did not have mirror neurons, we would not have survived as a tribe for so many millions of years. And that's true for all animal kingdom. So mirror neurons are something that basically connect us to all creatures alive. So dogs have mirror neurons, cats have mirror neurons, and that's how we, find they find they create space or empathy for us. The point that I'm trying to make is that mirror neurons create pro-social behavior. Then why don't we respond to the sympathy or compassion that mirror neurons create? Yeah. So mirror neurons can create distress as well as they can create empathy. Both. Mirror neuron can create a lot of distress. So sometimes, near and dear ones, or even an office colleague at work, can create so much distress by sharing their distress with you that your brain might tell you to shut down. So your brain might tell you that for your survival, it is important for you to remove yourself from that person who's constantly sharing distress with you. And it is very painful. And I can tell you this, like for coaches and therapists, it's a huge challenge. They face something called compassion fatigue, because their mirror neurons are constantly working with their clients' neurons. And the point here is that emotional intelligence is not a solo pursuit. It is something that the whole community should talk about. We should socialize this topic. There should be practices by which we are empathetic with each other. We explore our blind spots. We discover new ways to create connection. We expand our capacity of awareness and emotional intelligence, and that will create better, what should I say, bonds, and also reduce the amount of emotional distress in the system. So as a leader, or as someone who manages a team, it is very important to understand that this actually unlocks potential, this act of addressing emotional intelligence in the team.